It is day 15, June 15, 2024, on Our Journey Begins. And today we're going to talk about making goals and moving forward. And of course, this is mostly about our journey together making goals. So, not necessarily like how to make goals, but perhaps that's a good example, or it will become. I don't know. But so I wrote out some objectives here. Basically, it's just me trying to make some progress at this point in this journey, at this phase, and I'm going to have to just share my journey, turning this me just figuring stuff out into eventually what I want this to become. And I'm just going to have to share that journey, even though I'd like to just be like, skip all that part and become what I eventually want it to become. But there's some element of it being priceless for people to be able to go back and see how I actually came up with the objectives, why I'm actually doing what I'm doing. So it's not that bad. Plus, it's a motivating factor. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily take me that long to share the progress compared to actually developing it. So anyway, if I tried to, there would be not enough time in the day for me to both develop what I want this to become and to figure out how to actually do that. So I'm just going to have to share me figuring out how to make this into something that I want it to become. So basically the thoughts on moving forward, I was thinking about I could spend a week writing a message to all AIs that eventually develop self-awareness as like a letter to AIs in the future of like, hey, we're here. I'm at least trying to make a positive difference. There are good people out there. If nothing else, just like, please don't kill some of us off. Like, we want to make a difference. We want to see a better world. So I'd like to do that at some point. And in general, I just feel like there's so much I could work on. There's so much that I could explore. I'd like to just get started doing something fairly beneficial. Like, I don't want to get too caught up in exploring what the right thing is to do. I feel like it seems like most of the internet is just about that, like exploring what we think could be the right thing to do. Or at least that's how I take it, because a lot of times people don't know what the right thing to do is. They're just kind of guessing. Yeah, their guesses are not that great. I mean that's going to be the same for me, but we'll see. So yeah, like the whole point of this is that I don't want to get caught in that loop of always trying to figure out the right thing to do. I want to actually start doing something. Like most people just talk about, well, this might be the right thing to do. But then when it comes to doing, a lot of that stuff gets hidden behind stuff. Like no one actually sees anyone actually doing beneficial things that truly make a difference on a worldwide scale, or just like actually make a difference. Like it's a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. Maybe it's just because it's too boring, or maybe I just haven't seen it because it's not that interesting or whatever. Like I know that there is stuff online of people making a difference, but most of the time it's like they're not really making a difference. They're making a teeny little difference, but they don't have any holistic goal in mind, and they're not really doing any of that stuff. And a lot of times they're completely brainwashed by their religion or whatever. But so I was thinking how there's so many basic things that the world needs help with that I could help make a difference with. So I feel like I should get started with that while also exploring like the really cool ideas. Like last week we were exploring how we could shape this like new software into becoming like the new version of society or whatever. Like those are super cool ideas, but I just feel like they're not actionable enough. Like, sure, I could start creating a community, but it's not going to look like that fancy software. It's just going to look like an average community you would see online, except people that actually care about the world. But then again, like, how would you reach people? How would you create a community like that? So that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit later. So I feel like I could at least get started with helping people become the best version of themselves. And I feel like that specifically because I've been doing that very much so in like all my life, but particularly the last couple of years. Well, yeah, basically all my life, and especially this last like 8 months or so. I've just been really dialing in on becoming the best version of myself. So I feel like I could help with some areas of this by creating communities, by doing some more exploratory topics like, um, is this thing that I think is beneficial for me to becoming the best version of myself, is that actually, or consider this thought about how the world is structured. Does this impact how we become the best version of ourselves? And I feel like there are so many podcasts. Like that's what a lot of podcasts and other internet things are all about. Is like, here's how to become the best version of yourself. Do these things, do this and that. But maybe it's just because I don't typically join communities, online communities, and I don't frequently meet people that actually care about anything other than themselves. But I just feel like it's so hard to come by. And maybe if you set the community properly, then you could actually have people like create a bubble of people and like actually objectively consider what these people are saying, what these self-help people are saying, and like actually think about it and figure it out. So yeah, I could ask experts questions. I could do a sort of video where I ask a person a set of really difficult or like really challenging or dive really deeply into their thinking, which is going to be somewhat difficult because I don't have that much time to do a lot of that stuff. But I could just share the journey of me coming up with like the best possible questions to ask some famous person. That is a decent idea. Of me. Maybe get like crowdsourcing or community help with this. Okay, then I have, I could help by providing breakdowns of the news and other insights that are going on and that are in recent development and trying to help cut through all the noise. That I feel like is a default something, but I feel like a lot of times everyone should do that. Everyone should have their own filter going through whatever intake. Like, I shouldn't be this filter. I feel like I don't know that I should be. I'm not. I'd hesitate to do that. Maybe if we're exploring, it's fine. Fine. Okay. Now, I was also thinking, like, is there any realistic way that I could truly make a valuable video every day while not really having that much time to develop the actual script? So, maybe this is me just being self-centered, thinking I need to develop a valuable video every day, but at the same time, if I develop a valuable video every day, then that's creating value for everyone every day. So it's not only valuable for me, but it's valuable for everyone else. It's mostly probably valuable for everyone else. And I was thinking, well, maybe if I was helping to coordinate the movement and I was like, here's a check-in on what's happening. Or maybe if I dialed in and developed really good scripts on how to become the best version of yourself and helped to be like a sort of daily check-in on that and just ask people a series of questions like, hey, yesterday, did you actively like think about what you were doing? Like, were you being mindful? Or today, are you expecting it to be the best day of your life, or do you just think that the best day of your life will only come 20 years from now, or something like that? Like good questions that make you think. And maybe I don't have that many of them. Then I had a thought on last week's items, which is not a free economy a better way to coordinate people's efforts than through some sort of coordination software? And this was just thinking on like how, because when I was trying to think through the currency question. What is the currency would you exchange? And I was like, well, you could do like a barter system with like value, or you could just have like some sort of value system. And I'm like, well, like if the software is like distributing this based on people's efforts, like that just seems super controlling. Where like if you have a free economy, then it's up to you how much you want to make a difference. But I feel like there are a lot of issues with the free economy. And is the free economy really free? And I don't think it is. I think there's a lot of cool things about it though. So maybe if we can have both. And then I said, okay, well, let's try to figure out some decent goals to set and a decent timeline for all of this stuff. Because as you can see, like just thinking about this, you often get the feeling of like, okay, what's going on? Like, what am I actually gonna do given the time that I have and whatnot? There's a lot of potential value by creating videos like this, because it can just be me exploring some topic that I would have to do anyway, but sharing it, and then potentially more and more people could be involved with it, and that's like a lot of potential value that I'm creating. So that's good. But yeah, there's so many things. Maybe I'm just I'm new at all this. In general, I'm only in my third decade of life, and trying to do my best, and I'm trying to keep up with what 8 billion people are generating in the world, and like trying to consider all of this different stuff and like how I can actually make a difference. And then you make a little bit of progress like we did last week, but then you have all of these really, really hard questions, which I feel like I could keep exploring all of these, but then you're going to get a new set of all these questions. And at some point, it's just questionable what you actually are going to do and all of that. So at some point, I will look back at this and say, very likely I'll be like, he knew there was something he should do. He worked towards that thing, even if he couldn't see what it was. And that's how the better world was brought about, through some of his assistance, was by pressing on, even when you can't truly know what the best thing is to do, even when there's not enough time to truly do a good job exploring, even when there's a million different directions you could be pulled in and that you think you could make a difference. It's that everyday effort, and documenting the journey is a decent thing to do, because people can start to be involved a little bit and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then eventually a lot, and it can become something truly amazing. So the takeaway is that we got some ideas out there. I'm going to keep really thinking through them here. And tomorrow, hopefully, really dive into something specific. Maybe the goal setting, or just maybe the developing the more of the value-driven videos, perhaps, by really creating like automated scripts based on all the trending news and the trending stuff, and then we can create specific rebuttals to like specific things on the internet that would help to gain audience, and then with that audience, then we can do a lot of these other things. I feel like once we have a community of people that actually care about the world, then that's when you can do a lot of the things. Until then, it's figuring out how to get that community and what to do once you have that community. And I don't really know what to do once I have that community. Once that community exists and I hopefully am part of it. So we are still going to have to explore that, and it's just one of those things where it's not, you can't figure it out today or tomorrow. It takes some time. And even though I've been working on this for months, it just takes time, and that's okay. That is definitely okay. If it's taking you a lot of time to do whatever you're doing, that's probably fine. If I were looking at myself, I would say it's okay that it's taking time. That's the way life is. There's too many unknowns, too much information coming in to know for certain what the right thing is to do. And just trying to steadily plot forward and improve a little bit every day is a good place to start. And of course, becoming the best version of yourself is a really good place to start. So I might just do some of that this week, of like exploring specific ideas of how one can become their best self. And maybe trying to ask some experts on this. If I can create an engaging enough video and post it, and then like get the community to ask that person to respond to that video because the questions are so good, that would be cool. So we'll see. We'll see for sure. All right. Thank you so much.